strikes in Syria against Iranian targets. That's according to AP, citing an Israeli security official who said the Israeli Air Force hit several targets involved in Iranian arm transfers to Hezbollah. The airstrikes hit 3 locations, mainly Iranian storage and logistics facilities for shipping weapons to that Iranian proxy. Syria fired some 30 missiles to beat back the assault. That Israeli official saying that Israel destroyed a Syrian anti-aircraft battery. And here in the studio to help us make sense of all of that is our senior Middle East correspondent Mohammed Al-Qasem and our defense correspondent Daniel Semach. Daniel, what details do we have about this Israeli airstrike in Syria 2 nights ago?
So what we understand, as you said, there's now confirmation from an Israeli security official, but there was also confirmation by the Israeli military yesterday of a incoming anti-aircraft missile being launched from Syria towards Israeli airspace, and that triggered Israeli air defense systems in central Israel, not in northern Israel, in central Israel, quite a distance away from Syria. We also know a little bit about the targets that were struck. All of these targets, there are 3 to 4 main sites that were targeted in the area surrounding Damascus, and there are actually images that we can see now on our screen showing that one of those sites was completely destroyed. This is a warehouse.
Completely flattened.
Exactly. Completely flattened. This is the one that you can see. That's from May 2018, and that's just from yesterday, December 26th, showing that structure, which was said to be a warehouse for weapons that were destined for Hezbollah, an Iranian munitions compound that was completely destroyed. But according to these...
When we say munitions compound, we're talking about warehouses for storing what precisely that Israel's so worried about?
These are more sophisticated rockets or materials to build more sophisticated rockets, to build retrofitted rockets to become sophisticated precision-guided missiles. That's the idea here. That particular facility holds FARS rockets. These are rockets that were actually used in a previous strike against Israel back in May, when Iranian Quds Force launched a strike on Israel. These are the sort of weapons we're seeing there, both sophisticated and unsophisticated. But what we also know is that these compounds are all related to Iranian-backed militias in Syria, and contrary to reports yesterday, which tend to suggest that Israel struck also in the international airport of Damascus, those satellite images that we looked at earlier do not have any evidence of an Israeli strike on the civilian aircrafts that were in the Damascus airport, something that has been seen in the past, Iran using civilian aircrafts to transfer weapons into Syria.
Okay, fresh details emerging as Israel continues its assault against that Iranian presence in Syria. Mohammed, Israel has been quite cautious in Syria ever since that incident in which Syrian anti-aircraft missiles shot down a Russian plane, Russia then blaming Israel. And this time it looked like Russia was going to turn a blind eye, but then it came out with this statement accusing Israel of putting civilian air traffic at risk. I mean, does this suggest Russia is actually not on board with Israel continuing its assault against those Iranian targets in Syria?
We don't know who's telling the truth, but Russia's defense minister came out yesterday saying 2 civilian airplanes. One was landing at Damascus International Airport, the other one at the Lebanese airport in the capital, Beirut, saying that Israel has put these 2 civilian airplanes in danger. Whether Russia was trying to say that it does not approve of what Israel is doing, so to appease the not only the Syrians, but also the Arab states or the Arab population who supports and sees in Russia as a loyal, ally to Syria and to the Arab world. Or maybe this is another hurdle and another challenge between Israel and Russia. What the language tells us that Russia is very unhappy, or was unhappy, with the Israeli airstrikes. And I think every time Russia comes out with these statements, Israel follows that with an admission that it was behind these attacks, even though we have an anonymous source, but still, nevertheless, it's an Israeli official. And that shows that if this continues, this is troubling news for Israel, as the U.S. is withdrawing its forces from Syria, be it small forces, but it's important. Israel needs Russia in Syria to be able to operate freely as it has been. But if this continues, this may give Russia the idea, or at least maybe Russia will tell President Assad and his forces to start using the S-300 forces, which are more accurate, more anti-aircraft missiles, and they could be deadly and maybe pose a serious challenge to Israeli operations over Syria.